Hello there and welcome to this Facebook Live. My name is Lewis Lupton. I'm the National Training and Technical Support Manager for BAL.
And my name's Dave Rowland. I'm the Training and Technical Manager for BAL as well.
So tonight, guys, we're going to be going through our new product, our Excel Floor 1, the features and benefits and some of its USPs, or the ways that you can use it to make yourself more efficient when it comes to fixing large format tiles, for example.
But before we actually start the actual Facebook Live, can I ask each of you, if you want to actually ask a question and say hi in the box below, you actually will receive, through the post, one of the BAL hoodies. So today, ask as many questions as you want, and obviously you'll get your hoodie as well. And that's during just the Facebook Live, by the way, everybody.
Thank you very much. So why the change? So those of you who are familiar with the branding of the product, the Excel Floor 1, you will notice that it looks very, very familiar to the predecessor of this product, which was BAL Portable 1. So why the change? BAL Portable 1 was based on traditional rapid set flexible technology, which meant that it had a limited working time and limited pot life, and both of those things aren't necessarily what you want or that aren't conducive to fixing large format tiles. High levels of waste, for example, difficulty in fixing when products are starting to skin over. But with the Excel Floor 1, we felt it necessary to come in line with the expectations of the industry when it comes to working with larger format tiles, and of course also meeting the needs of the fixers, you guys yourself out there. So for us, it was important to produce a product that was going to give you more working time, reduce waste, and give you the ability to fix more tiles, less fixing, more fixing. Okay, so before we get into the product itself and its working times and open times and everything else, okay, it's important to note that with any tiling, especially large format tiling, that the preparation of the backgrounds is absolutely critical. This product does have some get out of jail cards when it comes to uneven backgrounds, which we'll go through later. But when we are talking about floor tiling, especially large format floor tiling, the preparation is absolutely critical. Notably, guys, we are only going to be talking about floor tiling because this is a floor adhesive only, okay? So when it comes to the preparation of background, guys, of course, we've got products like the BAL Level Max, which has been out for a number of years now. A fantastic product for heated screeds, prepared anhydrite screeds, believe it or not, as well, and of course, concretes. Internal use only. The beauty of Level Max is, of course, that we can operate from 2mm to 80mm, and the depth of the product is not dependent, the cure of the product is not dependent on time, okay? And with the BAL Level Max product as well, we can also go on timber overlays and backerboard overlays. It is a fantastically versatile product, okay? Next in the range, for those guys who want to work a little bit quicker, we've got BAL Level Fast, a more recent product to the range, which offers depths from 2 to 30mm, which is by far and away deep enough for even the more excessive jobs out there. But unlike Level Max with its 4-hour curing time, Level Fast is a 45-minute curing time, walk on in 30 minutes, and you've got about a 10 to 15-minute open time or wet edge with that product, which is, again, great when you turn up to a job where you find a little bit of an isolated dip in a floor that you weren't expecting, or that as tilers, myself included, we turn up to a job and we're told that the job will be ready for us. That famous phrase of it's ready for you to start, and of course it actually isn't. Because of that quick curing time, it means that we can put that product down and it isn't going to eat into the proposed time for the project. And of course, as we'll mention through this session today, is we don't get paid by the hour, or very rarely do we get paid by the hour. So products like Level Fast are fantastic at flattening those backgrounds out before we get to the tiling application themselves. We've also got products like BAL Board. I don't know if you can see it there on camera, not very easy to pick out against the background. But again, BAL Board with overlaid systems. So timber overlays, for example, when we're installing backerboards as the proprietary board system, many, of course, we would put adhesive underneath it, not as a bonding material, but more as a seating material or a void filler, as it were. Again, normally on a flat background with BAL board, we'd recommend a 6mm bed or 6mm trowel, giving us a 2 or 3mm bed of adhesive, but that can be raised a little as well. So again, if you were to use a 10-15 round notch or a thick bed, solid bed as we call them, with a product like the Excel Floor 1, for example, or BAL Rapid Flex 1, even Flex 1, you could you could take out some minor undulations in that panel and seat the barrel board, screw it every 300 millimetres. With a 12mm board, it's a 30mm non-corrosive screw. With a 6mm board, it's a 25mm minimum non-corrosive screw. Stagger the joints, take the boards, flat background for tiling. So, just while we're waiting on the material coming, what we're going to talk about today, guys, we're going to go through the range. We're going to show an installation of large format tiles. We are going to discuss some of our uncoupling systems. Okay, then we're going to do some external stuff as well. So hopefully we'll show you the versatility of the product. Okay, while we go through. We don't want this to be a one-trick pony as such. Yes, it is specialised at fixing large format tiles, but there's a range of ways in which we can do that, which may include also uncoupling systems. So, as most of you guys will be familiar with these days, Bal Rapid Mat has been on the range now for a number of years. Again, a great innovative product when it was launched 6-7 years ago, Dave.
Probably longer than that.
Probably longer than that, yeah. We've had a few we've slept since then. Our ultra thin, non-cavity based membrane saves 20% on your adhesive consumption. Okay, and has many features and benefits, including no build-up, for example, bay-to-bay tiling, stress crack relief, and things like that we use uncoupling systems for. But in the main, as everybody knows, that uncoupling systems are for the reducing the lateral strain from tile to background, and sometimes from background to tile as well. Okay, so we'll go on to the installation, guys, of Rapid Mat. First off, guys, we'll just pour some of this material out. Dave, you're gonna try this for me there? Yeah. And you will notice the XL floor one, guys, as well. Nice and soft compound to work with. All right, we'll talk more about the product shortly. The critical thing to remember about the XL floor one, guys, okay, is that this is not an adhesive that you would want to mix like you would mix everything else. It is not an adhesive that you would look at and go, I want to mix it because it looks like everything else that I've ever worked with. One of the critical things that people misassume, I guess, with what we would class as a portable fit bed is that the portable action or the portable benefit of the product is something to do with water. Now, when we talk about people mixing the XL floor one, it usually comes as a great surprise to people that with this product, it only needs 4 litres of water to mix it with. Unlike rapid set flexible products that cost people on average would take around about 5 litres. So, in that respect, you've got a product that takes less water, okay, is portable or is semi-portable, okay. It has got nothing to do with water that's giving it that benefit. But because you've got that benefit, it means you're on an extremely easy job, okay? And again, on larger format jobs, because you don't want to be dropping little bits of gear out here and there. You want just to pour it out and be able to trowel. Okay? Now also, as you'll see Dave doing at the moment, Dave is pouring out using a 4mm trowel for the installation of our uncoupling systems. Now, in days gone by, this is not something that we would have highly recommended. Our predecessor to this product was certainly capable of bonding an uncoupling system, but a lot of the older technology meant that the fillers were quite heavy and sharp, which meant that when you were applying a fine membrane or a fleece back membrane system to it, you could almost feel the filler and the sand, and of course because of that you didn't get the same bite on the uncoupling system and the adhesive. So we would almost exclusively recommend products like Rapid Flex 1, Flex 1 for example, which everybody's aware of now. But with this product, such is the quality of filler, it means that we are able now to install uncoupling membranes such as Rapid Mat and of course Flex Bone varied with the use of this product, meaning that you don't have to install or get another product for another application.
Got loads of questions coming in, Lou. Absolutely brilliant on the comments. Thanks everybody. Can it be used on the floor heating?
Yes. With regards to this is actually a flexible tile adhesive, so very versatile in the sense that it can be used for a number of different backgrounds, but essentially also different as far as environments. Underfloor heating being one, that's cables, so we're talking under tile heating, but also underfloor heating or heated screens, as we sometimes refer to as well. Yeah. So a variety of different environments, both internal and external as well.
Yeah. Not to be confused with the overlay systems, of course, which you know is a little bit of a grey area, let's say, and we'll leave that one there. I think is probably the best thing to do. Dave, do you want to explain what you're about to do?
Yeah,
mate?
well, to do obviously one of the key elements with regards to fixing, and we all know this with regards to rapid setting products, is that generally out there you normally have about 10 to 15 minutes open time. So it's all about get down quickly, get the towels down before it skins over. One of the beauties about the XL Floor 1 is the fact that this product itself has got the capability for you now to spread larger areas, meaning you've actually got a skinning time, or open time as we refer to, of literally 60 minutes, an hour. So literally you can apply the whole bag of product to the floor. What I've done here is actually straightened the section out, which I'm going to put a tile in now. And if I just lift that up, you can see, obviously, and you would have...
Sorry.
So as you see there, as far as the material itself, you've actually got full contact. You will get that anyway when you initially put a tile in. But look at this as we go through the Facebook Live. You will still continue to get that contact and coverage.
I don't think that's just quite on camera there, Dave. You might just have to bring that round in front of the camera. Just show that coverage there.
So yeah, you go. See?
There we go.
And what I'll do is, over the course of the Facebook Live, I'll keep putting towels down every 10 minutes.
Okay. Back to the uncoupling system, guys, as well. So we'll just finish this little section off before we get into the large format tiling, of course.
Luke, sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Just another question about the wrapper mat.
Yes.
Sorry, they couldn't hear you over the troweling, but
it's all right.
Just explain again why this is a better product to use on an uncoupling system again than the old products.
Well, this one, sorry, the XL Floor one.
Yeah.
Basically, there was nothing we could have worked with it, but of course, a lot of tilers like yourself and Dave, we work by feel. And we like to use adhesives that feel nice and creamy and things like that, and all the technologies to be able to get the bed depths that we associate with the bow portable thick beds, and this one included. We would use sharper fillers. Now those sharper fillers, or the sharper sands and the fillers that go in there, meant that when you were putting down a fine fleecy membrane or something like the bow wrapping mat, for example, when you were troweling over or trying to roll the product out, you could actually feel the filler under the mat, so you didn't get that initial grab. And occasionally you would find that the mats would just come up on the edges slightly and things like that, which is nothing in terms of product, problems or anything like that. Guys, like traditional guys would do, is just put a toolbox back there or weight some tiles down until the adhesive's actually bonded. But in this case, we don't have to do that. The formula is such that now that we've got an ultra smooth adhesive, and we're able to still maintain the bed depth associated with the 25 with our portable thick beds. So back to the uncoupling system, guys. We'll just show you the ease of this one, and again, just how well it takes to the product itself. Of course, either roll it on, guys, or just get a nice blade of a trowel. You'll see that the one good thing about rapid mat as well, it retains its memory, so then you're not chasing it around the room. Again, unlike this predecessor, again, you'll see that it takes very, very easily. Okay, flatten that in, nice and heavy. Okay, let me just catch that, bring that in, and that is your uncoupling membrane installed in terms of rapid mat. And again, the one good thing I like about rapid mat, okay, let's just speak up, once it's in, you can jump all over it. And I've always found that something really, really useful, because not all membranes are of this ilk. You can go anywhere near until the material's actually cured, whereas this one we offer immediate tiling, and you'll see the mat's gone in beautifully.
And also, from the point of view of our thin systems, they can actually ride up and move around. With obviously the nature of the rapid mat itself, it literally will not drag, slip, or move around, allowing immediate tiling straight away.
On to our next offering, we have Flexbone Varied. Again, not a membrane that I think everybody is aware of, or is as aware of as its sibling, let's call it, which is Flexbone Too Easy, which we won't touch in a minute. But Flexbone Varied, for those traditional guys who like a fleece-backed, cavity-based system, would really, really like this mat. Okay, a lot of features and benefits, guys. Not things like the cross-bonded grip lock technology, which means that the system retains virtually no memory. And the other one, of course, being that it uses what we call open cavity construction. So none of the cavities themselves are actually closed on this system, okay, which means that from a point of view when it comes to filling the cavities of the membrane itself, one swipe will fill this membrane with ease. Now that's reckoned to be about 30% faster than some of the other leading manufacturers of uncoupling systems, and of course it's all about time. Time is money. Okay, so one swipe in any one direction, as you'll see there, the membrane is full. Okay, which means that for easy fixing and speed, we can fill the cavities very, very quickly. And of course, the beauty with the portable one means that we can, in one foul swoop, with a little bit more adhesive, of course, get a solid fit very, very quickly and easily on a, I say a large format tile. That's something like a 3060 these days. Doesn't strike the same amount of fear into fixes as it did in years gone by. But of course, we'll go through its other attributes in a moment, but you'll see there very quickly and easily, 2 uncoupling systems, same adhesive to install the membrane, but then of course the same adhesive to install the tile at the same time. Again, all about saving time, all about saving money, making the installer much more efficient, meaning you get to the next job faster, meaning you get paid again quicker. And that's what it's all about for us tilers. So,
I've got a question about curing time in the winter, Lewis.
Yeah.
What's the curing time in winter months?
So of course, anything in winter months, like in summer months, will be affected by temperatures. This one is a semi-rapid, so this has a 6-hour curing time, but like everything else, we have to have a benchmark. Now, those benchmarks in the UK are set around about 21 degrees C, so clearly, if we're operating in temperatures that can go down as low as 5 degrees in the UK before we have to say no. Of course, in winter conditions, it will be the open time, working time, the grouting time will be slightly extended, but we're not talking days and days and days. We're talking 30 minutes, possibly 45 minutes. But on the flip side of that, of course, in summer months, you would see that also reduced because of the heat, for example. And of course, there are things that you can do there as well, like where you store your materials, not working in direct sunlight, and all those things that we talk about to installers to get the best from the products. But yes, of course, it will be affected by both winter conditions and summer conditions.
A couple of questions. I don't know if you touched on this already, but when you're mixing up, how much water are we using in the mix, Lee?
4 litres. 4 litres dead on. Okay, so as I said before, most rapid sets traditionally, and indeed standard sets, operate with around about 5 litres, somewhere in that range. And of course, the thing to bear in mind with this is a portable product or a semi-portable product, yet it's got nothing to do with water. One of the critical points of this product is that you mix it as per instruction, and quite clearly that's 4 litres on the nose. Okay. Incidentally, we have looked at this with our labs as well. If you do want to remove a little bit of the water because you feel a little bit more comfortable with something really big and heavy, but we'll dispel that myth shortly, you can drop the water a fraction, but we're only talking down about 3.8 litres or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of questions here. I just want, firstly, just on the rapid mat,
yeah.
Does it curl if you put your foot on, twist your foot on it? Does it curl or...? That's a no, then.
That's a no. And my 12 stone is, clearly not going to shift that. So.
And I've got another one from Adrian O'Clements. He says, with it being portable, needing more water, which what about shrinkage when it dries?
You want to do it?
Well, the thing is, with water ratios, with regards to any products, it's important to actually follow the guidance of the manufacturing of the right amount of water.
Yeah.
The beauty about with this one is it requires 4 litres, which in turn, even though it's a portable wet material itself, if you actually put less water or more water, you actually will have a knock-on effect with the properties of the product. Certainly, if you put more water in conventional adhesives to make it portable or wetter, you will actually get shrinkage. Same principle here as well. Just before I move on, I'll just take the next towel. This is actually 15 minutes later now.
Yeah, can you do it? Sorry, Dave, just do it a bit on further up so we can see it.
I will do, John. So, and this is just using a normal 10mm sort of notch trowel, but you can clearly see the contact you're getting. And even though this is designed primarily for large format tiles, there's no reason why you can't fix smaller size formats as well. In fact, in a lot of cases, you ensure that you can get full contact when fixing any floor tiles. And in some cases, you won't need to do the twist and sliding action in the same way, but depending on size, obviously you need to do that twist and slide action. I've
just got, someone's asked if you can have a lift of this tile, Lewis, this one here.
This one?
Just to see underneath it.
Thank you.
That's it. Go on, lift it, show for the camera, mate.
Oh,
look at that. Brilliant.
Okay,
thanks, mate.
No problem. Right, so we move on to, I suppose, the purpose of this session, which is the large format tile itself. I'll need the assistance of Dave in a second. So we are going to move on to the large format trowel. Of course, this one is a 20mm round notch. Of course, you can use a 20mm square notch with some fantastic trowels out there. And we are not saying that this is the only way to guarantee solid bed fixing. We're not saying that you will never need to back butter a tile again. We're saying that this product reduces the need for it, okay? And how you achieve solid bed fixing is indeed down to yourselves and your personal preference. Some guys would like to use a thick bed, solid bed trowel, put a 4mm on the back of the tile as well. But the point being, we're going to try and get a solid bed fix in less time, okay? So what we're going to do is adopt a slightly different technique in using the large format trowel, okay? And in this case, we've got a 1200/600 tile, which we're going to put down now. We're not going to back butter the tile, and we're going to show you the unique properties of portable, I do apologise, XL floor one, okay, in fixing large formats. So, see if I can...
Just while you're talking about that, Lou, while you're spreading, or Dave, what coverage do you get out of a bag?
So, as far as the actual coverage wise, it will depend upon the trowel that you actually use it. Now, based at a 3mm thickness, you will actually be getting 5 square metres out of the bag. So, typically, what you would normally get with a lot of the barrel range of products, coverage wise doesn't change this.
Have some more material, mate.
Sorry?
Grab some more material.
Let's go.
Where's my trowel there? Yep, that's that.
Thank you very much.
So it depends on the what trowel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A thick bed, solid bed trowel, 10-15 round notch, 10mm square notch, something like that's going to give you 4.5 to 5 metres out of a bag, right? The harsh reality of that is that's rarely the case because of background, undulation, the fact that larger format tiles have got some deformation in there as well, and that's what we're trying to talk about here, is giving a slightly different technique to get solid bed fixing with minimal ease. Now, its coverage is no less than any other product that we have, but to get a solid bed fix using something like the Rapid Flex one on a tile of this ilk, it's likely that you're going to be putting a comb on the back of the tile as well, okay? And the coverage will be exactly the same. So if we're using a 20mm trowel like this one, the coverage is probably going to go down to 3.5 metres-ish, something like that. But that's no different to using Rapid Flex one, for example, using a 10-15 round notch on the floor or a thick bed, solid bed, and a 4 or a 6 on the back of the tile as well. So the coverage is the same as everything else that we have in that respect. But of course, it will change depending on trowel size, thickness, and of course, shape as well. I'll just cut on this on. There we go. Typical man can't multitask at the same time. Okay. And we shall. Okay, mate, we'll just put this tile in. If you've got that side, mate, I'll go around the back.
Yep.
Okay, stop your side in there, thank you. Yeah, she's in. Okay, so before we do anything else, what I'm going to do, I hope this is picked up on camera, Phil, as well, is I'm going to take this edge off here. Can you see that edge, Phil?
Just going to move the camera around so you can see it.
Okay, so we're just going to take that edge off there. One of the biggest myths that we have with portable thick beds, of course, is that the weight of tile, especially a large format panel like this one, is going to drop the tile. It's going to make the adhesive compress, and we're going to lose the material out of the side of the tile under the next tile, and it's going to be really not very manageable. Now we haven't done anything with that yet. We've taken the edge off, but what I'm going to do very carefully is load that up with that. I might even load it up with this as well and show you that the products, that's 3 products on there just for the camera. I'll come round the front just for the sake of the camera as well and show you that even with this weight on, the adhesive does not displace, or it's minimal, and therefore you have no concerns over the size or the thickness or the calibration of a natural stone, for example, or indeed a large format panel like this one. Okay. However,
so I'll just zoom in for them, Luke, just to show them, yeah.
Yeah. However, because of the technology found within the product, it requires very little in terms of effort to make sure you're getting that thick, that solid bed contact. Okay. A lot of guys will use the vibrating plates these days. I haven't got one of those with us, so just bear with me. So all we're going to do, for the sake of this, is just agitate the adhesive a little bit, and that's just a little gentle rock back and forth like that, and you will see, close enough, the product will wet up on the edges, okay, and you will see it comes to rest when I stop, okay. Very, very manageable product. The pourable aspect has got nothing to do with water. All to do with the technology as found within the product, which means it's extremely, extremely manageable, and more importantly, you're going to get solid bed fixing with relative ease. Okay, so again, what we like about this, if you want to adjust the tile, okay, you can do with ease, and you can do this, guys, for up to an hour. All right, unlike rapid set technologies of yesteryear, which means that you've got all the adjustment time you need. Okay, but at the sharp end, you kind of like 6 hours, as Dave said before. Do you want to lift this up, mate, and we'll take a look underneath it? We'll have a look at the coverage, Phil.
Yeah.
You're doing it to me.
We'll lift it up the other way if you can.
Which way, mate?
That way up.
Bring this side up.
Or we can bring that side up, yeah.
That's what happens when you put 3 men in a room, none of us can make a decision. Can you give that me a bit? Yeah. That doesn't want to come. Ready?
Look at that. Doesn't want to come, does it, guys?
Hang on, I'm going to have to come round. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You ready? Yeah. There we go. She's coming. She's coming. She's coming. She's coming. Yeah, mate. There she goes. Whew. So we just look at the centre of the tile. Where we have the material. No back button, of course. Okay, we move on.
The key thing I look at with this is you can actually still use any wall and floor tile adhesive. The whole purpose of this is not saying that all of a sudden the products you've been using in the past, like Rapid one, is not suitable. But the key thing here is you've always got to back butter. This doesn't obviously say that you haven't got to back butter the tiles. It does depend upon flatness of background, dishing of the tile itself. Ultimately, what you need to do is make sure that you get a solid bed. The product here allows you the ability to get solid bed fixing much easier than using conventional wall and floor adhesives. But the other element is the fact you can actually spread a lot more. You're not fixing a tile at a time.
Yep. Dave, yeah, a couple of questions that's come in.
Okay.
Firstly, how is this different to Flex One?
Yeah.
And what tile size would you advise to move from Flex One onto this new XL product?
Okay. Do we go that one first?
Yes, please, yeah.
So, Flex One was developed in 2018, somewhere around that time. The reason for that is it was actually developed as a standard setting adhesive that dries in 6 to 8 hours. Okay. But it's also got a high gel, high grab technology. This was actually designed for large format tiles, predominantly for wall application. For floor application, because of that, the gelling element to give you the non-slip capabilities, you would have to, you don't get the wetting element that you will get with Alex Floor One. So you won't get.
And you still have to back butter.
You still have to back butter in all cases. But the thing is, with this itself, is you can actually build this up far greater than the Flex One. 2, this is purely floors. So we can put all the features, all the benefits into allowing an adhesive that gives you great wetting power, the ability that you can spread the adhesive over a larger area. And the key thing with this is the fact is it's taking now, when using this product, do not do what you did yesterday. When you use this product, mix multiple bags because you've got the ability of a pot life of an hour and a half. So you can actually, in fairness, you can literally do something like 3 bags in one hit, pour that over a large area, spread all that material out. And somebody, if you work in teams, they can actually install the tiles, or the fact that you can get down on these, spread a large area, go back and fix those tiles. Check, make sure you get solid fixing, but if you find out you're not, then you may need to consider back buttering or to angle the trowel up slightly more, or even maybe even change the trowel. But the good thing with this is you're not restricted to a particular trowel because you've got a 25mm bed you can go up to. And the beauty about all this is it still dries in 6 hours, regardless of the thickness. So it's actually versatile in the fact that it can be used with ceramics, porcelain, natural stone. Because of the one family being one colour, it makes it more applicable to ease of fixing natural stone without any bleeding, that type of thing.
Just going on to natural stone, I've had a comment in. Can you use it with travertine?
Yes, you can.
Yep.
Used with all types of natural stone products, and that's because of the fact that it's actually got a low water absorption, or a low amount of water, which Lewis mentioned earlier, but still giving that wetting element is the ability, it's based on like a low shrinkage type of material. So therefore, you can build up without actually any issues with the shrinkage.
And I guess the question there is also about the fact that travertine is often tumbled, which means we're actually going to be filling in the back of the trowel at the same time when we do that. Ultimately, guys, you know, as installers, you know, there is nothing worse than fixing a tile twice and getting paid once. And that's what a product like this aims to eradicate for you. Just as another open time on Phil, we'll go back down while Dave's preparing himself for the external part of this demonstration. We will go back in with again where are we at now time-wise.
We're half an hour now.
Half an hour, yeah.
Since we
okay.
Just
let's pop that up. Again, you'll need that one, my friend. And I'll just come around here to the camera. Oh, we're on this one here. There. Oh, there. Okay, so we're in half an hour.
Want to show me as well, Lou?
Yeah.
Just for those watching on Instagram.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent.
One of the things that we have talked, or we didn't talk about actually, was the benefit of priming as well. Of course, we are working on prime backgrounds here, guys. But of course, any cement-based adhesive, its best friend in the world, or indeed leveling compound, is an acrylic primer, for example. You know, allowing the adhesive to keep that water within, which means that it's going to get everything that it needs, and the background isn't going to take it away from it. It means you're going to get less wastage and ultimately better performance from your product as well.
What about, I've got a question about levelling clips. Can you use this as a good product to use, levelling clips and wedges and stuff?
Yeah. Personally, I hope I can say this as part. You know, I know that there's obviously a lot of questions from installers to the adhesive manufacturers on the use of levelling clips. Personally, I think me and Dave are both realists, and we know that these systems are there. I think as long as people are using the clip to do what a clip is for, which is taking minor deformation out of the tile or undulation within the joint, absolutely no problem at all. In fact, it probably works extremely well with a levelling clip. I think the bigger issues around levelling clips will be where people use a levelling clip as a substitute for not preparing the background, of course. And I think that's where, you know, the use of levelling clips is somewhat questionable. Yeah.
Okay, so as far as the key things here is the fact that we've shown now the fact that you've got excellent open time. So it's the ability that you haven't got to do one tile at a time or small areas. That's one of the key elements. Secondly, is the fact that having the ability to be just a flooring adhesive, you've now got that consistency that is a wetter product than what you would normally use with a normal traditional wall and floor adhesive. But the key thing here is the fact the ribs stay up, they don't collapse, therefore you maximise on it not coming through the joints, you're not getting it on your hands, but also the ability that you can fix the tiles and get this good solid bed fixing without need of back buttering in all situation cases. The other thing we want to look at now is that because you can actually do multiple mixes, because it's got an hour and a half or 90 minutes or an hour and a half pot life, you haven't got the issue about waste, as Lewis said a moment ago. But obviously, if you do need to build up, this is the ideal product because you can build up to 25mm. It's a bit overkill, but you have got that ability in isolated areas. If it is that it's actually a really bad floor, as we would always say when fixing any tiles, but even more essential with large floors.
And I think we see that a lot externally, David, as well. And again, a lot of fixers who do fix externally, unfortunately, and I don't want to get into the whys and wherefores and the respect for the trades and all that kind of stuff, but externally, people tend to take a little less care when they're installing things like concrete pads, for example. And of course, they are very typical examples as well. We get that inside-outside look with tiling these days. We see quite a lot that people want to have that same performing tile installation that they've got in the kitchen as they've got outside. And of course, so we may be fixing onto concrete. And as regards to that bed depth that Dave mentioned there, you may find uneven concrete, for example, which brings us onto this side of the demo now.
So what I've done here, I've actually poured a section out. This is obviously a full mix of the XL Floor 1. Now, this is not something you would tend to do in general sort of practice. But what I want to just give you the opportunity, the ability, if you're fixing uncalibrated materials like slate, like natural products, where you haven't got a consistent thickness, the ability of this you can build up. Now, in time, in experience, for a lot of you who have actually had to build up tiles, and I know for myself, is that sometimes because you use adhesives that are wall and floor products primarily, when you come to build up and you fix a tile in place, you tend to get the tiles that adjacently fixed previously lifting as you're pushing the tile down because you want to actually physically get the levels. But because the material is a lot thicker, what happens then, it actually physically lifts the adjacent tiles around it. This being a more low viscosity type of product, but the beauty about this, it actually has the ability to support the weight. What I'm going to do here is just literally just apply the material. And say, this is not something you would tend to really do. I mean, in isolated areas, fine. But general fixing, I would always refer back to fixing and leveling your backgrounds first. But I just wanted to show you now the ability of, I'm using now 20mm tiles, which is, all right, tend to be now used for external applications. And I just wanted to show the sort of degree of it. We all know how heavy 20mm tiles are, but just to show you, I've only just done a section because I want to just put another adjacent tile next to it, but you can see there, as far as the material, when you actually comb it away, it actually holds, but also you can literally just press on it gently and it allows it to move into position. So this is where you said about clip systems, it allows it then to actually connect if you've got some minor differences in thicknesses. When you come to actually put your next one, if I actually now push that down, it's allowing, it's actually now lower than the previous one, but it's not actually physically disturbed the other one at all. So you can actually press it down, push it down to the required height, if the worst could worst, the material will come through the joints. But the difference is it won't force the adjacent tiles around it. The adhesive's got to go somewhere. But the important bit is you can get your levels much easier, faster, and the thing is now, it will stay where it is. And that will dry, ladies and gentlemen, in just 6 hours, regardless
of that thickness, though.
At that thickness. So it doesn't matter if it's 2mm, 3mm, 5mm, 25mm. You actually will be able to grab this up in just 6 hours.
And I see you going on a rough sort of concrete surface there. So any dips or anything, just go straight over that.
What you could do.
You can level if it's a small area. You can level it over.
And just to make it absolutely clear, we're not saying this is how you fix tiles externally either, by the way. What we're showing there is the bed depths and the fact that we're not disturbing tiles. Of course, just exactly like you would fix inside. Okay, yes, the concrete's got to be 6 weeks old, have a functioning DPM, and all those things that we talk about. Okay, but there's no reason at all why you wouldn't use the blade of the trowel to fill out any minor undulations in the surface of the concrete. Okay, once it's prepared, of course, and then just trowel out as you would do normally. And fixing exactly the same way. We're just showing the bed depth that this material is capable of doing. As you'll see Dave doing there, effectively, all he's doing there with this imitated tamped concrete is just filling out the minor undulations before we would then just come back through with the trowel and we would fix as per normal is what we would do in that case there. All right.
Yeah. So as far as what you're looking at, we've talked about feature and benefits about the product. And the key thing here is you've got to take that stance now of do not do what you did before by mixing one bag at a time or half a bag at a time in some cases, spreading a small area. This is giving you the ability now that, I mean, now we're actually at 40 minutes, well, 35 minutes, and literally, I take it 12 seconds. But even now, and this is where it's actually physically. So, around it. So that is now after 35 minutes. You're still getting that contact. And this is where it becomes so mind-boggling because you've been so used to doing it a set way for a number of years. But like all bar products, the use of things like rapid mat, the fact things like bar board where you can use the cut. It's all about these products being developed because you've asked for it. And that's it's not the fact that we come up with just great innovations. We're looking at what are your issues, what are your problems, what are you facing day in, day out. And it's developing easier products, but also more importantly, so you don't shortcut. The last thing you want to do is when you buy a product and then use it correctly.
And that's another good one actually, Dave. And someone asked the question earlier about cable and the floor heating systems, I think.
Yeah, on the floor heating, yeah.
And of course, you know, what I'm going to tell you now, guys, is not necessarily what we would call best practice, because there are best practices, but when it comes to installing cable underfloor heating systems, there's another example of its versatility. One thing that you could do, guys, is use this material to encapsulate the cables and at the same time fix. Now, of course, naturally, we would go to level max or level fast for encapsulating underfloor heating cables, okay? That is absolutely best practice, 100%. Safe for the cables, better heat distribution and everything else, okay, that you would get with that. But now and again, there may be a job, a small cloakroom, downstairs WC, maybe it's a small bathroom upstairs or something there, and someone doesn't really want to use a levelling compound upstairs because they're bothered about it, you know, wetting the mice in the between the joists or something like that. But, or maybe, just maybe, the levelling compound or the time it takes to put a levelling compound down, maybe the straw that breaks the camel's back.
I mean, I suppose things like level fast will actually now ultimately overcome that because you can walk on it after half an hour. But essentially, it's about making sure that if it's small areas, it's something you can do.
Absolutely.
It's the fact that what we don't want you to do is actually take what we just said and then do a whole 20, 30 metre or even bigger floor areas.
That wouldn't be cost effective, but at the same time, it's also worth noting that a lot of adhesives out there only have limited bed depths. We're talking 6mm usually, okay, which means that by the time you encapsulate a 3mm cable, you've got 3mm of adhesive to bed a large format tile with, and that ain't happening. And that would encourage mispractice and bad use of adhesive. This product could do that.
Just one last thing, in case I don't know if it was actually covered off, Lewis. We've talked, obviously, substrates, it will probably work in practically 90% of situations. It may be slightly more than that. But also, one of the abilities with this, like with the One family range, that includes Flex One and Rapid Flex One, is you can modify this and improve it by the use of an admix, such as Bal Admix AD1. But the other good thing is because it's got a high polymer content, you only need it at a 1:3 ratio. So that's 3 parts water to 1 part of the Admix AD1. And that just adds just additional sort of polymer for circumstances like going onto impervious backgrounds, like tile. Also in some external applications where you've got temperature, weather changes, you might want to just incorporate that additional polymer flexibility and so on. And also when fixing certain types of materials that are changing all the time.
Yeah. So in other words, you know, this may be a floor adhesive only, and I think there's even more that we could do today if we had a little bit more time, which we absolutely could do. But it is a fantastically versatile adhesive, but more importantly, it is there to make you more efficient as an installer. As I said at the start of this, none of us get paid for or get paid by the hour. We want to fix tiles first time, every time, and do it pretty sharp. Absolutely. And that's what this product is developed and doing.
Thanks, guys. And just a couple of last questions then before we finish off. Just again, can we just go over the main differences? Because somebody's asking, how is this different to the old pourable one?
Times.
I know we're sort of covered off, but we just sort of wrap up.
The key things with this is smoother. Also, the fact that with this is the fact is you've got the ability of having a pot life now of an hour and a half, 90 minutes versus 30. So 3 times the pot life. And also the ability of the overtime, which Lewis is very kindly now, we're actually at roughly now up to 3/4 of an hour. And that itself, camera there, mate. That itself is actually 45 minutes. It's still giving you extra overtime. So more importantly is that if you weren't getting good contact before, you certainly can get that with this product now, and the ability you can spread multiple amounts of material. Yeah. So, and the drying time, though it may be slightly longer, most of the time you're not going to be grouting the same day, but it's 6 hours, so you can still afford to grout up the same day if you need to.
Yeah, this is a true overnighter. You know, again, most people make that mistake of using standard setting products that have a 24-hour cure, and finishing at 5 o'clock tonight doesn't mean that you can be grouting at 8 o'clock in the morning. That is not 24 hours, but a 6-hour cure is way, you know, it's going to take you through the night, and you're going to be grouting with pure confidence in the morning.
And you're going to get that 6 hours, I mean, temperature-wise, is it going winter and summer? Is it going to...
Temperature will obviously play a part anyway.
And we went through that a little bit earlier as well. And it will, yes, summer it will speed up a fraction. Winter it will slow down a fraction. But the good thing about cement-based technologies is that they are still, you know, generally...
How long is this walkable?
Well, we would always say 6 hours is when you grout. That's obviously when you can start walking.
Yeah.
The thing is, we all know with represent products, as soon as the tile's not moving, you tend to gain on there.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that the product is actually ready for grouting or ready for walking on. It's just starting that initial sort of set.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So listen guys, I hope that's answered a lot of your questions, and I think it's been a fantastic introduction to what I feel is going to be an excellent addition to the range. Like everything else, it's covered by our 25-year guarantee. Everything that we do at Bal is certainly backed by our guys out on the road. If anybody wants to take a look at this product in more detail, or they want one of our site guys to come out and see them, by all means contact your local technical support manager. We'll be more than happy to come and show you this product. From me, thank you very much for joining us.
And from me, thank you as well.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.